God became angry and began to punish Egypt with 10 terrible plagues. The first punishment was the water of the Nile, which turned to blood, all the fish died, and river began to stink. But none of the court advisors could do anything about it. Then millions of frogs appeared from the river. They were everywhere, on the streets, in courtyards, in houses and beds. When they died, their bodies were covered with worms, and millions of flies spread everywhere from the worms. The air became foul and poisonous. People barricaded themselves in their homes, and those who had wounds on their bodies were eaten alive by flies. Their skin festered, boils and rashes appeared. Even the Pharaoh's wife did not escape the disease. Then the prophet Moses left a warning on the body of a horse. If Pharaoh did not free the slaves, the next punishment would be much worse. Pharaoh did not take this seriously, only tightening the conditions for the slaves. In a result, Jews began to die in the streets from exhaustion and starvation. Then God struck again. An epidemic broke out among the livestock, and the animals began to die. One of the ministers suggested appealing to the gods, but it didn't help. Then a storm began, and huge hailstones began to fall from the sky, destroying the crops. People were in a panic, but it got worse. Egypt was attacked by swarms of locusts, devouring everything in their path. Deprived of food supplies and crops, crowds of hungry people began to storm the granaries. The minister suggested opening one of the storehouses, but Ramses not only refused, he executed everyone who managed to sneak in to steal food. After that, Moses came with a final warning, but the Pharaoh rejected him again. Moses relayed these words to God, and God decreed that on that night all firstborn sons would die. To protect the Jewish children, Moses ordered them to smear sheep's blood on their doors. When night fell, the city was filled with cries and thousands of sons died, including Pharaoh's son. Upon learning that the Jews had not been harmed, Ramses said, "Leave." Moses gathered the Jews, and after 400 years of slavery, they left Egypt. The Pharaoh, having buried his son, went mad. His wife began to rock an empty cradle, having lost her mind. Then the Pharaoh and 4,000 soldiers rushed in pursuit. Moses reached the shore of the Red Sea. ANF, thrusting his sword into the water, began to pray. In the morning, the sea parted, revealing dry land. The Jews went forward, but then began to run when they saw the enemy approaching. The army and Pharaoh set foot on this land, making a big mistake. Lightning flashed in the sky, and the waters of the sea returned. The Egyptian army tried to escape but perished. Moses returned home, where his wife and son were waiting for him, and Jews finally gained their freedom.